Yeah. I didn't know the name of this, but it's called a fictitious plaintiff, one who appears in court as the claimant, but who actually has nothing to do with the matter at hand. Such an individual is guilty of contempt of court. Yeah. I had mentioned during that court hearing in 2012, where I was arrested when there was no jurisdiction, that it wasn't Heidi Lee Budnek sitting on the stand. So the plaintiff was a fictitious plaintiff and is guilty of contempt of court. Now, every time there was a petitioner that motioned the court or didn't motion the court that appeared in the county commissioner's chambers or in the superior court, that was not the actual petitioner, would have been a fictitious petitioner. Approximately, well, I can go through it, but I would say somewhere between 10 and 15 times over the last 6 years, there was a fictitious petitioner that had petitioned the court and a fictitious plaintiff that had petitioned the court for dissolution of marriage. Now, I made about 13 different videos this morning, exactly 13 of them. Yep. And I just wanted every judge and justice to know, every person in law enforcement, every individual that has been involved in obstructing my rights and violating the Constitution of the United States, that having a fictitious petitioner petition the court because body doubles were used, and there's innumerable numbers of forgeries on all those court documents. Yes. And to have fictitious plaintiffs motion the court for dissolution of marriage, and I'm going to find out exactly how many different fictitious petitioners and plaintiffs have gone through that courthouse. Now, I find this interesting as I look at this Clallam County District Court 1 no contact protection order violation. Yes. I had made mention in a video maybe 6-8 months ago that if I wasn't, and since I wasn't in SWIM on that day, because I had been reading the response from the state, yes. Since I was not in SWIM on December 31st, who was it that violated the protection order? Was it a fictitious violator of another person? Let me just go through the state's response again, just for a moment here. I'm having some difficulty with my paperwork. Hang on just a second. State of Washington. Yep. Is charged with violating a protection order pursuant to RCW 2650-110. Or to convict the defendant of this crime, the state must prove the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. On December 31st, existed a protection order. The defendant knew of the existence, and that on December 31st, the defendant knowingly violated a provision of the order. Now, since I wasn't in SWIM on December 31st, who was it that was acting as if they were myself? Now, just so you know, for every person in law enforcement, every badge, for every person elected and appointed to office that has sworn they would support and defend the Constitution of the United States, to allow for the protection order to continue to be in force that is violating my rights and the rights of my sons, my family, is knowingly allowing for contempt of courts quite possibly 25 to 30 times over the last 6 years. So you know the consequences of judges and justices, attorneys, sheriffs and police officers, FBI, and those that are generals and admirals of the United States military. Every oath of office and every mandatory reporter that has allowed for 25 to 30 approximate number contempts of court for every individual that was a fictitious petitioner or fictitious plaintiff during all the shows. Now, allowing for the state of Washington to not remove a protection order. When I was arrested on January 4th, and it says here that the state's response is December 31st, the defendant knowingly violated a provision of the order restraining the defendant from having contact. Now, since I proved I was not in SQUIM, and it says here that I was in SQUIM, who was it that was the fictitious perpetrator of the crime? The consequential damages to every oath of office in this nation will be everything that they own, every asset of every state, and all of the assets of the United States of America.